Dun, 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 dun. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bum, 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 bum. What's up, party people in the house?
What up, though?
Welcome to Texas Live, one of the sexiest voices in the SFL,
Mr. Master.
Dave Axis. What's up, party people of the SFL? What's going on? What's happening? What's cracking? How about them Bruins in the Sweet 16 once again, baby? UCLA, fight, fight, fight. What's going on this Tuesday night? Good to see all the party people jumping into the chat. Welcome to Season 20, Episode 10. I believe this is Episode 140 overall, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to hear that UConn stuff. Get out of here. Get out of here. Anyway, we'll get to the chat, peeps, in just a minute, but I wanted to welcome everybody to the program. Hey, look at that. I got the wrong slide up. We're already signing off. So welcome. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. How about we do that first? Hey, it's party time. Yippee-ki-yay. There you go. I guess it'd be good if I set all this stuff up, huh? Anyway, welcome to the show. We've got a little shorter show tonight, so here's the deal. We're not going to have an owner's box segment. Had a hard time getting this week filled in. We do have the next 2 weeks already set up and ready to rock and roll. So we'll be doing those two. But this week we don't. So that's going to save us, 15, 20 minutes. I think we're only going to do one of the two power ranking slides. So I'm going to put the over-under tonight at 95 minutes. 95 minutes. So an hour and 35. That's 10:35 Eastern. We've been going to 11 the last few weeks, but I don't see a reason that will happen this week. So I'm going to go with no. I'm going to say it's not going to happen. So there you go. What do we got here? What is this one? Let's do this. Let's check out the party people. Let's see let's see who's here. Who's here and who was the first one in? The first one in, well, I'm not counting Holdorf or Tyler because they were in here early and so was Pseudo. The first one in once we went live was the lovely, amazing, perfect pink Lisa, of course. Will Todd, Bullet Boletsky, Mike All jumping in there. Pure 2K. Marcus, what's up? Great show last week, bro. Good to see you back. Hey, Marcus, wait till we get to the predictions part later and I talk about the records. You crushed it, bro. You crushed it. Justin Reside, you crushed it too, bro. Good to see you, man. Dave Terry from San Antonio. Good to see you, bro. Bullets in the house. Holdorfer's here, like I mentioned. Josh Farnsy's with us, folks. Chris Lee. What are you doing here, Chris Lee? I want to nominate the entire Lycans team for Diva of the Week because they be crying today. I'm sure we'll be talking about them tonight. Bob Funk is in the house. You know we can't have a party or a show without Bob Funk. Clean Sheets, Doug Britton in the house, along with Fox Highwind, Cuzzo33. It doesn't say first time chat, so I'm sure I've called your name before, so welcome back to the program. David Leathers, the best first name in every single league I'm in with him. Benji Matson, what's up, Benji? Rock Chalk. Oh, yeah, how'd that whole Rock Chalk thing go, bro? Fox, yep, Tennessee. Yeah, so all three 3 of my Final Four teams that I chose, because they're my 3 teams, I chose this with my heart, not my head, was UCLA, Tennessee, and San Diego State, all in the Sweet 16. So my Final Four is crushing it. Let me see who else is here. James Walters, 87. Good to see you, bro. Tyler, I mentioned. Nate Hall's back with us. Aaron Kozak's in the house. Doug Day. What's up, Doug? You love you too, bro. Pseudo Nakai, if I didn't already say that. And and T to Queen sneaking in there at the last second. Glad to see everybody. Welcome to the show. Let's move on to find out who tonight's panelists are. We have 3 returning people and then 1 person who's been here before but has not been on this season yet. So in circle number 1, the circle that is closest to me, they have a button here somewhere I'm supposed to hit. There it is. He's been on the show a few times, and he's been crushing the pick'ems, and I'm glad to have him back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Josh Farnsey, to the program. Josh, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me back. Just really mostly here just to haunt you with my 49ers gear.
Yeah, dude. If I knew you were wearing that, I would have worn my Raiders gear for sure. Faux show that would have happened. But you're right.
Potentially.
But you like you said earlier, I don't know. They're in Vegas now, so is it really a rivalry anymore?
I mean, was it ever, Dave? Was it ever?
It was, especially probably, back in the day, it really was. And then the 49ers got all happy in the 80s and 90s and whatever and started succeeding or something, whatever. But I guess it's okay to have you back, even though I can see your sweatshirt. Well, I don't know what it is. Last week it was Justin Reside. This week it's you. I don't know. Is like ugly sweatshirt competition or what, bro? I don't know. But either way, Josh, welcome back to the program, bro.
Thanks, man.
All right, guest number 2 in the middle circle. I think he's been on with us once this season. He's been here a couple other times, and he's back to party with us one more time. He's the man in the middle. He is T-Roy. T-Roy Gaines in the house, folks. T-Roy, I'm not really liking you very much this week, but I guess we'll talk about that later. But let's talk about you right now. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, Dave, and I did. How are you?
I was not feeling good there for a couple of days, bro. And I'm not going to say it was your fault, but it was your fucking fault.
I'll happily take responsibility for that.
I'm sure you will. Anyway, welcome.
Looking very Lone Star Gory-ish last week in terms of the uniform scheme, though.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we had our Marine Corps dress blue Charlie uniform. And then this week, bro, now that you brought it up, we're going to roll with our home full dress blue uniform this week. So, we got to support the red, white, and blue, man. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Got to have it. But that aside, welcome back to the program, man. Good to have you back.
Thank you for having me back.
All right, in circle number 3, and I know you're all shocked, but it's not Tyler this week. Can you believe it? We have a show where Tyler's not at third base like he always is. But like in baseball, everybody needs a day off once in a while. So I gave Tyler 1 week off. So hopefully he'll be back next week. I don't know if he will be or not, but hopefully he will. But we have a great substitute. As a matter of fact, he's not even a substitute because usually he's in the first or second circle, and he's been here quite a bit this season as well. I think this is his 3rd show. You know what? It's probably only his 2nd because I'm pumping it up so much. But we'll ask him right now. But everybody, welcome back, Will Todd, to the program. Will, is this number 2 or number 3 for you, bro?
2 on camera, Dave, but thanks.
2 on camera and a few more on voice, right?
Right. I'm not sure I know how to act. Being in the 3rd circle, I'm expecting to see somebody with a flat hat on. And,
I know,
and
right?
I don't have one. So.
I probably should have swipped you and Josh. At least Josh has a hat on.
Well, at least he has a hat on. That's
Whoa,
right.
An ugly hat, though. Put your head back up, Josh. I can't handle all this 49er crap. What's your shirt say tonight there, Will? What shirt are you wearing?
Scorpions, no day off.
No day off. Okay, good. Good to have you back to the show, and
Glad to be here.
Glad to have all 3 of you guys. All right, folks, it's that time. No, Jack, it is not you. You are not the guest co-host, but one of these times you will be, and we'll do this little farce, and you'll end up being the guy anyway. Art Vandelay, what's up? Good to see you, bro. All right, go ahead. Let's start throwing out the guesses for the guest co-host. Somebody said Will, or no, somebody's saying hi to Will. Mike O'Neill, no. Mike All, no. Hacker, no. Eddie Gage, no. Ray, no. Coach Craven, no. No, it's not Jack Wall. It's not Chad. It's not Ethan. It is not me. It is definitely not me. All right. Here we go. Somebody said Greg Soto, too. Tyler's Minnesota accent. Fuck, I hope not, Bullet. Jeez Louise, that was terrible. All right, here we go. If I can get the right button. Our guest co-host is, and somebody did guess it. I just kind of went right over. Somebody said Cam. No, it's not Cam. It's not BJ Loveless. It's not Pink Lisa. It's not Mike O'Neill's chair, but I think that definitely needs to happen. That definitely needs to happen. All right, folks, here we go. The surprise guest co-host, guest by Doug Britton in the chat, is none other than my very, very good friend, Charles Doherty, and his flat cap in the house.
Somebody had to wear one.
Did you just run and go put that on after Will said that?
I did. I think I pulled a hammy.
Well, at least you're sitting down for the next 90 minutes. How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man.
Hey, it's good to be on here.
It is good to have you back. This is your first time this season being on.
It is. It certainly is. And what a group of panelists you have tonight.
We got a great group. Yeah, we do. We have
three of them.
We have a great group. We have a great group every week, I think. But I'm glad to have everybody here tonight. So, Charles, welcome back to the show, bro.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Before we get into bullet points, I do want to throw this up here real quick. Most of you saw already in the SFL server that the convention information has been released. It will be in Cincinnati, Ohio. Don't take it off, Charles, man. Come on. What are you doing, bro? You gonna put on background? Oh shit! You gonna paint me something while you gonna paint us something during the show? Surprise announcement for the convention. Charles is gonna paint a painting tonight and auction it off at the convention. What are you gonna paint? True. What are you gonna paint for us, Charles?
A knuckle fuck.
That's a little pre-show humor for those of you who were in the pre-show. So that being said, Northern Kentucky / Cincinnati. I'm just calling it Cincinnati. July 28th through the 30th. I don't even know how to respond to that. So, hey, if you haven't signed up, the announcement came out almost an hour ago already. What are you waiting for? Marcus in the chat says, if anyone is on the fence about going to the convention, go to the convention. Best weekend ever. Has anybody on this panel been to a convention? No, Josh, Will, Charles. Charles,
who?
Give us 30 seconds about what you like about the convention, as people are now using the word knuckle fucker in my show chat.
Yep, you get to meet a couple of those at the convention, and it's fun. You get to see people that you've never met in person before, and share a beverage or two and laugh, and it's a good time.
Good deal. Lisa, the lovely, amazing, perfect pink Lisa in the chat saying we've already booked our room. Like, I was upstairs prepping for the show and she already booked us a room for the convention. Cliff Allen, I should know better than to allow my kids to hear the audio on this show. Bro, that's what the warning's there. That's what the warning is for, man. That's what the warning is for. All right, folks. Let's jump into bullet points with my man. Or we can just jump into power rankings, but we're not going to. We're going to do this instead. We'll save that. So, hey, you guys get a nice little sneak peek of what the power rankings look like.
Big tease.
I know. That's what I do, bro. We're going to get into bullet points. Bullet, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
What's going on, Dave?
So, how was last week on the shit show meter compared to the previous weeks?
It was definitely above average in terms of shit show ranking, for sure. All right.
That's good to hear. How many bullet points did you get out of this show last week?
We have 8 this week, and I'm going to apologize to you in advance because I was particularly cruel to you a couple of times. So, you and Tyler.
Okay.
You guys dominated.
Okay. Moving on to the power rankings. Shit. All right. Well, I'm almost afraid to uncover these. Shit. Damn you, Bullet. All right, here we go. Bullet point number 1. I'm just going to dive in. I'm just going to dive in the deep end. Oh, fuck. I see my name. First thing. Great.
It's done with love, Dave. It's all done.
I'm sure.
Love. All right, here we go. Bullet point number 1. To open the show, Dave claimed he was sick and was drinking tea despite despising tea, just like Ted Lasso. And that's where the Ted Lasso Dave Access Live show comparison ends. One show is full of great characters who are interesting, entertaining, funny, and we eagerly look forward to seeing them every week. And this is the other show.
First of all, I just want to say that's only been the case since we had bullet points. Boom. What's up?
Oh, damn.
Hey, I got to give a little back.
Fair enough.
Hey, and let's say episode 2 of season 3 of Ted Lasso comes out tomorrow night, just FYI. Bullet point number 2.
Number 2. Nate was a panelist on the show for a second straight week, and this time he appeared minus his Amish Mafia beard, which he famously attempted to shave off on the show last week. Word has it that Nate needed a lawnmower to finish the job as his Brillo pad beard proved too strong and manly for a regular electric shaver, as we all witnessed. Nate must have been still feeling the effects of that difficult depucking, as he still appeared dazed and muted himself right off the bat.
He did, didn't he? Did he do it twice or just once? But I know he did it at the beginning of the show.
Definitely did it twice.
Definitely did it twice. Unbelievable. It's like put the beard back on, bro. You know what I mean? Actually, if you guys want, in the Access Live server under where was it, Charles? Under Access After Dark, you'll see the.
You got to bring that up. Oh,
you'll see the after. You'll see the after picture after he shaved his beard off. That Charles said he loves so much. Bullet point number 3.
Number 3. Dave proved why he needs to keep his day job when he introduced Justin Reside as a panelist he's not happy with, who left him hanging last week and who bugged out on him at the last second. Insult to injury, he told Justin his sweatshirt was ugly.
It was.
Someone needs to. It was.
It was ugly.
That was fair.
Yeah.
Someone needs to get Dave a copy of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and leave it on for his reference on the bookshelf he claims to be building.
Damn, bro, you really are coming at me this week. Shit. All right. So, like I announced last week, those funds have been diverted to getting the deck done. That starts on April 1st. And once the deck is done, then the bookcase will get done. I don't know if it'll get done this season. We'll find out. We'll see what happens. Bullet point number 4.
Number 4. When Dave started talking about soccer and his Knox City SSF team, you could literally hear every single listener click their mute button and wait for Dave's lip to stop moving before clicking back on. When you make your audience wish they were listening to Tyler exaggerating his Minnesota accent instead, you know you've messed up. No one cares about soccer, Dave.
Hey, for when you watch you always watch the show back for the bullet points, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to do some lip reading for you right here. Okay, there you go. That's all right. Bullet point number 5. If I see my name on this, I swear. Oh my God, it's there again.
This was not so bad. The rest is all Tyler. So this one is like kind of reference.
The rest, there's like 2 left. The rest are all Tyler.
All right. In the chat, the audience was trying to anticipate results of the next time Dave brain farts the names of his panelists and came up with Tyler Hall, Dave Reside, Justin Access, and my favorite, Hall Dunhill. Someone in the chat suggested Dickhead Dave, but that was just an insult, but I thought it was worth repeating.
It's always worth repeating. Actually, that's probably my favorite bullet point so far tonight. Bullet point number 6.
All right, number 6. Much to the shock and horror of everyone, Tyler told us that he had thrown away 2 beers during the early part of the show.
Yeah, he did.
Is there a worse crime against humanity than wasting beer? And to add insult to injury, Tyler said this in his nails on a chalkboard, exaggerated Minnesota accent. He broke into this accent several more times during the show, and it was more excruciatingly painful each time. Tyler gets a show demerit for the beer wasting and 2 demerits for the accent.
I agree. That is now my favorite bullet point instead. Number 1, because it had nothing to do with me, but I agree with you. As a matter of fact, if there's anybody in here that is a whiz with Twitch and knows how to edit out the bad accents of Tyler, slide into my DMs and let me know, because I need to get rid of that. It was terrible. I agree with you, Bullet. And as a matter of fact, that's why Tyler's not here this week.
Dave, you actually said that accent is terrible at least 3 times.
During the show? Because it was. It's fucking terrible. It's terrible. Tyler, I see you in there listening too. It's terrible, bro. All right, what are we on? Number 7?
Number 7. Okay, I had a bone to pick with Tyler as he willed his Florida 2-10 prediction into existence with his Minnesota voodoo. This is what the only way to explain Florida's last second losses 2 weeks in a row and how our season is basically now in the toilet. Thanks, Tyler.
Now, you did win this week, though.
We did. We broke the curse. We broke the 2-10 curse.
Broke the Tyler 2-10 curse. Wow. So 2 in a row for Tyler. Bullet point number 8. Is it going to be about me or is it going to be about Tyler? Let's find out.
I think this one's about you, Dave. Sorry. I like this one. I think this is my favorite. Anyway.
Save the best for last. Great.
Right. Deion Hawkins was the guest owner on the show, and he took the time to chat in detail about how he found the league, worked his way up to becoming an owner, and his league experiences. When Deion was done, Dave asked him a question about Tulsa's playoff appearances, to which Deion replied, "I just explained that 30 seconds ago." Dave quickly responded, "Yeah, but I wasn't listening to you. Give that man his Emmy now."
Listen, everybody knows I'm not the best listener, bro. I mean, that's why I do a show, and I always have to listen back afterwards because I miss half the show during. And in my defense, I was actually dealing with something, so it's not like I wasn't listening to Deion. I just wasn't listening to Deion.
That makes sense to me, Dave.
See,
I hear you.
Well, you're married. You get it. You get it.
Oh yeah, I get it. I got that skill. I got that skill on lock.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Bullet. Well, let's see what kind of material we give you tonight, bro. We already gave you a few of them, but we'll find out next week when we see you next week.
You got it. Thanks,
All
Dave.
Right. Thanks, Bullet. Appreciate you, bro. All right, folks. That was Bullet Buletsky with bullet points, ripping up Dave 6 out of those 8 bullet points. Thanks a lot, Bullet. Appreciate that. All right, real quick before we jump into the divisions, we'd like to touch on the power rankings. Now, normally we see the power rankings from the coming up, the ones that were passed, and talk about the ones coming up. But Hunter sent this to me today. This is the analytical one. This is by the numbers. So this isn't the coaches poll. This is not the media poll. This is by the numbers. So by the numbers, Josh, we'll start with you. What stands out? Any surprises? Anything you expected? Just give me like one thing, and then we'll go around the horn.
Not too many outrageous surprises on here, Dave. I think I would say maybe Fort Worth might be need a little bit of a tune-up there, but no, yeah, I wish I had something really insightful, Dave. I have nothing.
Well, so when you say a little tune-up, do you think they jumped too much, or do you think they didn't jump enough?
I would put them up. Maybe it's just I still have that win over Baltimore on the brain.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe a couple spots higher for them.
Yeah.
At least maybe one spot higher over London.
Yeah.
But everything else seems, fairly on par with where I'd have them. There's a couple. I think after this week, there's a couple of games that would definitely shake this up a little bit. But that's my only thing that kind of stood out.
Yeah, Fort Worth, not only did they beat Baltimore, but they crushed Mexico City this week. So I definitely see the 4 spots moving up. Speaking of Baltimore, T-Roy, you, Arizona, Atlanta, you guys have been playing like leapfrog here on these power rankings all season long. As you look at these, though, these updated as of today, what stands out to you?
Before I even go there, I still have that Fort Worth loss on my brain. Too. Don't feel bad, Josh.
You're not the only one.
Question is, did Fort Worth beat London earlier this year? This season?
Did they play? Did they already play?
They did.
I don't know. Well, somebody in the chat can tell us. Did Fort Worth and London play yet?
Yes. London beat them 42-49.
Oh, so London beat them. Okay, so thank you, Charles. And then I actually, to be honest with you, don't have any issues about that. Of course, I purposely ignored these because I don't want to get my head too hyped,
right?
Especially where we're at currently on these rankings. But I don't see anything like shocking or out of the ordinary as of this moment from the power rankings here.
Okay. Hey, Fox, I didn't ask. Tell you yell at T-Roy, bro. Don't yell at me. Will, what about you? These are the brand new, as of today. The ink is still wet power rankings for week 11. What jumps out at you?
Well, the biggest thing that surprises me a little bit is how far Mexico City fell. But I realize that as teams win, they deserve the right to go up, and if you lose, you're going to drop. So, but just the amount that Mexico City dropped, I think, is the biggest thing that jumps out at me.
Well, Mexico City has lost 3 games this season. Fort Worth has lost 3 as well, right? But they have 1 less win. And this surprises me, Charles, and I think Josh touched on it a little bit. London, though, at only, what are they, 4-4 now? Are they 500? They're 5-3. 5-3. London seems a little high to me. No disrespect, but they got to climb their way up. I think Mexico City and Fort Worth definitely better than them. What say you, Charles?
Yeah, I think once you start at number 7 going down, it gets a little muddy. I think if you got a win more than the rest of the folks there in that second column, they should be up higher. So Mexico City I think, should be swapped out with London. And Fort Worth, is good where they are. And then, you could argue why Vancouver's up there, but at that point, you don't really care.
Well, I mean, yeah. After you get out of the top 10 or so, right? Vancouver's only 4-4, which is interesting. If anybody wants to jump at this real quick, this will be the last question I'll ask. Vancouver's at 4-4. They're beating teams like LA and Seattle, right? That haven't been playing very well this week. But then below them, you have Indianapolis. Indianapolis has won 5 games. Louisiana's won 5 or 6 games, right? Louisiana 5-3. Indianapolis.
You could easily swap out Alamo City.
I think Indianapolis is 6-3 now. So, and again, this is data, right? So this is by the numbers. This is analytical. Anybody got anything to say? Hey, this is why Vancouver is ahead of Indianapolis and Louisiana. Correct.
I guess I got to chime in here, Dave.
Oh, I mean, you're the lone Vancouver guy, right? So.
I silence is incriminating here.
It was also deafening there for a moment.
Yeah, I couldn't find my mic button, but I think if Indy was ahead of Vancouver, I think that's fair because they played really well. They beat us by 11 a couple weeks ago. And I know Louisiana did beat us a little bit ago as well. We are 5-4 now.
Are you 5-4? Okay.
And I think we have wins over Minnesota and Tulsa. I don't know how many teams have. If you look at just the left-hand column there, how many teams have multiple wins against the top 6? So I think but yeah, we have beaten Seattle and LA, but I think that's you also consider the fact that we beat Minnesota and Tulsa. We played Atlanta close and lost. I think if you take that in consideration, I think 10-11. I think that sort of is where we belong.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go, folks. Jack's Data. You can follow them in the SFL server. You can follow them on Twitter, putting out the rankings, the power rankings every week. The coaches poll and media poll should be out, or power rankings should be out later this week. All right, let's jump into these divisions and see what went down this weekend. Josh, let's start with you. We just talked about Vancouver, LA, Seattle, etc. Tell me about the Pacific Division this particular weekend.
So in terms of this weekend, it's a pretty easy sum up. We had Portland and Seattle on byes this week. They're gearing up to play each other this weekend in a big game. And it was the one game was last night, Vancouver, Los Angeles. It was pretty one-sided. It was 43-10 Vancouver. It was after losing to Indy. It was I can definitely say it was from the Vancouver side of it. It was very nice to see all 3 phases working. We had a block punt in the first quarter to kind of set the tone. We had Christian Brown was slinging it. We had Robert Redford tornado spitting all over the place. So it was. I would definitely say, I know LA's record is what it is, but it was still, I think, our most complete game from start to finish. You had, you just had just all special teams. Like I said, you had on the defensive side of the ball, we were able to force Sully into a couple of bad throws, and we kind of tried to take away some of their playmakers at wide receiver. So it's 5-4 now. We're a game and a half ahead of Portland. Um, Vancouver is on a bye this week. So it does put a little bit more pressure on Portland to win this week to kind of keep pace. Kind of coming up, we have a big showdown in week 14. And because Portland beat us already, as long as they can stay within a game coming down the stretch here, they're going to have a shot at this division. But a loss, a loss coming up here puts it out of their control. So the pressure's on them. Down the stretch, they have Portland, just to give you the schedule. After Seattle, they have Louisiana, Sioux Falls, and then Vancouver. And after our bye, we have Vancouver has Sioux Falls, Jacksonville, and Portland. So I think
So
it's fair to say
two of the three are common opponents, which is great, right?
Yeah. Sioux Falls is going to have a lot to say about the Pacific.
Yeah, they are.
So that's going to be interesting to see how that comes down there. Seattle is certainly not out of it. This is kind of a must-win this weekend against Portland. They actually have Tulsa, Florida, and LA to wind up the season. So Tulsa's no picnic. But the Florida LA games, that's going to be that. I think those are very winnable. I think. I'm not sure they actually get there and get into the playoffs, but I think if they can win, if they can split even in these last 4 games, or even go 3 out of 4, I think that's momentum for season 21, Dave. And as far as LA is concerned, I mean, I guess the greatest comeback in the history of divisions is not going to happen, unfortunately for them. But they have some standout people that have been playing really well lately. Just a shout out to my fellow Birmingham Fuel alum, Garrett Hudson and Tazzy Blackwell. I think are quickly becoming one of the best, most underrated linebacking duos in this whole SFL. I know that they must have called, I think Cam called Garrett's name probably about 100 times last night. They have some good core, especially on that defensive side. If they can figure out, I think these last few games, it's really about getting into the lab and seeing what can work with Logan Jack and seeing what can work with the rest of this offense. So I think that's kind of where the Pacific is heading right now, there, Dave.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the last game of the season, LA and Florida, 2 teams I think that have underachieved this season. So we'll see how they both end their season. Charles, what do you got for Josh?
So for Vancouver, out of those last 3 games, which team do you think they're most worried about?
I gotta say, in terms of worried, I'd say Portland. I mean, Portland beat us earlier this year. We know them and they know us. There's not going to be a whole lot of personnel surprises on that front. I think if we can get to that last game and both teams are within a game, then definitely that becomes very interesting, because I think Portland's starting to really in terms of the passing game, starting to find their niche a little, even though they haven't been winning the last couple of weeks. They've been starting to find their niche, get Ezekiel Love a little bit more balance in his life. So I think Portland's the one. I don't think that Vancouver's necessarily scared of any of these teams, but I think that Portland definitely is the game that I would circle on my calendar.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that too. All right, Josh, thanks for breaking down the Pacific for us. Let's move on to the Atlantic, because I see Nacho in the house. What's up, Nacho? What are you laughing at, bro? You just got here. You're already laughing at people and shit. Who else did I see? Art Vanderlei, I think I already said. And Marco Swift, what's up? Good to have you here. And I think that's all the new peeps that have jumped in. T-Roy, your division, the Atlantic. One of the games I already know about. We don't even have to talk about that one if you don't want to. But how about those other 3 teams?
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the other 3 teams. Let's start off with Carolina. They lost a very close one. I think this is probably the game of the week out of all the games that happened this week. They lost a close one to Arizona. It was an offensive slugfest kicked off by Harish Prasad, who had a kick return for a TD. And even though Matt South went down with an injury, the backup quarterback with the best name, and I think of all SFL, Cheesy Pizza,
Jeez.
along with Ike McBride, kept them in the game. But the Scorpions' offense, led by Ashley Jackson, and a dominating performance by DJ Moses, was too much for the Skyhawks. And Cheesy Pizza almost did it. Unfortunately, interception and the final drive sealed the fate for the Skyhawks on that one. They are currently on a 2-game losing streak. DC, they dominated that entire game versus Denver, 28-13. It was just dominating on all phases of the game, offense, defense. They did what they needed to do. Only blemish I will say would be that ill-timed interception thrown by Sebastian, but he made up for it later on. Vegas in Charleston, and unfortunately Charleston, with this loss, it was said that they are out of the playoffs. They were in it close against Vegas, but mistakes, turnovers hurt the Preds. The Vegas offense was able to ward down, the Predators defense, and be able to pull out the 30-20 victory. In the game you don't want to talk about, at least I'll give a heads up to Ben Stacking Paper and Enzo Both. They combined for 5 interceptions that game. Stacking Paper had 3. Enzo Bolt had 2. One of them was a pick 6.
Yeah, I was there. I saw it. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Real quick, I want to say hi, Frank the Franchise Wade in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Frank, welcome back to the show. I don't know if you're still on spring break with your family, but get home safe, and we'll see you next week. T-Roy, here's my question. I'm not going to ask you any questions about Baltimore. I'm tired. I'm kind of tired of Baltimore at this point. But let me ask you, this really close game between Carolina and Arizona yesterday. If Matt South doesn't get hurt, does Carolina play better, or did Carolina play better because Matt South got hurt and you have that whole backup quarterback Arizona not knowing how to defend him kind of thing? Which way do you think that went?
I don't think Carolina would have been worse off if Matt South stayed in the game. It's just that it was a good game plan at the time. Arizona did what they needed to do to get the job done and come out with a victory. I think you guys can tell from my own personal experience, we had, unfortunately, Warren went out in the playoff game, and we had David Morehouse come in, and he had himself a ball game, the backup non-contract running back. So it was a good scheme. Unfortunately, at the quarterback position, I think maybe it can be done, but you got to limit those turnovers, and I think the turnover cost them. If Matt South was in the game, would the result been different? I don't know. Arizona's defense still did what they needed to do when it's all said and done to get that W.
I don't know what it is about backup players in this league at key positions, but they always seem to do well. I don't remember, Charles, what was the game that I think we lost to a backup quarterback. Was that Canton, or who was it? There was a backup quarterback for another team. Either we barely beat them or we lost them. I don't remember.
It was Canton.
Was it Canton?
Yeah, I think so.
And dude, he came out and he was on fire. It's like I don't understand why these backup players play so well, T-Roy, but it seems to be a trend. Hopefully we get away from that in the new game, because I don't like these backups coming in beating me, man. I don't like
whatever
that.
side of the ball you're on. If it's your quarterback that goes down and you lose, it stings.
Yeah.
If you get beat by a backup quarterback, it stings too. So one of those coaches.
Yeah, either way, they definitely have a big effect. Yeah, Tex Grigg. Thank you, Bob Funk. It was Canton. There you go. It was Tex Grigg. I think he even got nominated for Diva of the Week. Did I miss anything on the Atlantic, or are we wrapped up, Drew? So I didn't mean if I cut you off.
No, we're good.
We're good? All right.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for breaking that down. Let's move on to the West with my man Will Todd here. Will, we touched briefly on the Arizona game, which I'm sure you'll touch on more, and it's San Diego, of course, but Vegas, Vegas being Vegas again, there's a lot of good action here in the West. Go ahead and break it down for us.
Sure. Well, T-Roy covered, three of the games that the teams in the West were involved in this past weekend. I'll touch on each of those just real briefly, but we'll start with my Arizona Scorpions. They're now 8-1, and we've won our last 3 since our last bye. As T-Roy pointed out, it was a real scrappy Carolina team that we had to play, and even though Matt South went down in the first quarter, Cheesy Pizza was a sight to behold. Couldn't resist saying that name again. He came in, had 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. But as T-Roy pointed out, we had just a really amazing performance by DJ Moses, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Ashley did Ashley things. She had 246 yards and a touchdown. And our defense, we forced 3 interceptions, one each by Eddie, Iverson Gamble, and Mr. Diggs. And we also put 5 sacks down on them. So, our defense played inspired. Our next game is against those Baltimore guys. So we're looking ahead to that, and we know it's going to be a tough game. So we're looking forward to that.
That's on that's on a Monday night, right? Is that the Monday night game,
is.
the rematch for the championship? That's awesome.
It is, yep. And it's at Baltimore. So second team is Las Vegas. They're currently 7-1, and they, if you remember a couple of weeks ago when I was on here, I said that they were arguably the hottest team in the SFL, and I still believe that. They've won their last 6 games, playing lights out. They did have a little bit of trouble with Charleston. Charleston played them to a 13-13 tie through 3 quarters. So, I mean, through 3 quarters, it was you didn't know how that was going to turn out. But in the 4th quarter, Las Vegas passing game came alive, helped them to rack up an additional 17 points while their defense only allowed Charleston another 7. Eric Price, their quarterback, played really well, 77% of his passes for 287 yards and a touchdown, although he did surrender 2 interceptions. Running back Scott Johnson was held to 53 yards rushing, but he did also contribute 2 rushing touchdowns. And my man Doug Britton had 139 yards receiving, and much of that was in the 4th quarter.
I'm getting sick of hearing that guy's name all the time, just FYI.
Yeah. Their next game is versus DC, and on game week 13, they also have to face Baltimore. So those are games coming up on their schedule that's pretty tough. And then game 14, which might decide the division, is going to be against Arizona at Arizona. So looking forward to that.
Arizona's going to have some fun these last few weeks, Todd.
Arizona's going to have a nice fun 3 games out of 4 weeks. That's right. Next team in the West is your San Diego Mavericks. And let's see here. What should I not say about that game?
Hold on. Let me find the "you're muted, bro" thing real quick.
Again, if anybody watched the game, they just know it was tough. Baltimore in the first half, they racked up 202 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. They had a 21-3 lead at the half, and they didn't really slow down in the second half. And I don't know that that's as much an indictment of San Diego as it is just more props for Baltimore. But they look really good. And the last team in the West we'll talk about is Denver. They're currently 2-6, and unfortunately, they are trending very badly in the wrong direction. They've lost their last 4 games. They played DC, and again, as T-Roy pointed out, they lost 28-13. They were hoping to get some positive momentum going into the last third of the season, but it wasn't going to happen. DC held Denver's offense to only about 100 yards passing and less than 30 yards rushing in the first half, resulting in only 3 points for the Night Wings. Conversely, Denver's defense gave up 14 points to DC in the second quarter to make it 14-3 at the half. Denver would get a pick 6 by Rosca Santagria in the third, and another field goal by Ye Verity in the fourth, but that couldn't keep up with DC's 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Denver had 5 offsides penalties, which kept tripping them up and allowing DC's offense to stay on the field. And then they also threw 2 picks in the last 3 minutes of the game, which stifled any comeback opportunities for them.
That's too bad. Denver's had a rough season. I want to say hi to Crazy Canuck in the chat. I don't know if you just got here, bro, but it's the first time I saw you. Charles, what do you got for Will?
When you were doing your prep for tonight and looking at the stats and everything, is there any particular player in that division that you think is surprising you from a performance standpoint, either on the good side or the bad side?
Well, not to pat our own backs here, but I really like the season that DJ Moses is having. He has really been balling this year, and and giving teams a lot of trouble. So I mean, there's a lot of good players, in each of these four teams, whether they're winning games or not, they've still got good players. But right now, DJ's my man.
Are you going to announce your campaign for mayor? That was a very political answer, but I appreciate it.
Well, I'd shake your hand if I could, but I can't reach through the screen.
Just don't be kissing any babies on this show, and we'll be good. All right, Will Todd, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I feel like I got. Oh, are you doing the? Oh, there you go. You're doing the South, Charles. For some reason, the West. I thought you were doing the West. I was like, I
got to follow Will Todd.
Yeah,
Holy
you do.
crap.
Yeah, you do. And now, you know what? I might have Will ask you the question now,
Oh my God, that's
just
like
to get back at you.
On that. Oh my! I'm gonna have to make shit up.
Well, I figured you were anyway. So.
Well, I am. That's true.
I knew you were. So hey, this is our former division. It's been interesting. I thought Mexico City was going to run away with it there early part of the season, Charles.
You're taking my notes, man.
No, I'm good, dude. But you can elaborate on them. I'm just saying.
All right.
I thought Mexico City was going to, but Fort Worth has really been playing Alamo City right there. Tell us how things went down this weekend.
Okay. Can I go now?
No. Only if you put the cap back on.
Okay, ready? All right.
Ready, begin.
To use up all of my time. No, but this is a very interesting division. I think between this division and the Central Division, I think they're that overall, top to bottom, I think they have the best teams from a competitive standpoint. What's interesting about the South Division is the division leader, Mexico City, lost. All the other teams won. Fort Worth just dominated Mexico City, and I think they're one of the, we talked about Vegas being one of the hottest teams in the league. I think Fort Worth is as well. I think Nacho, the coach, has found the secret sauce, and all the other teams in the league need to go unnoticed. Hacker was just a beast in that game, 294 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he averaged 29 yards on a reception. So that was just crazy. I mean, that was the biggest blowout. They played again Mexico City. They beat Mexico City. Houston played Canton, and that was a heavyweight boxing match. I mean, not a lot of points scored, not a lot of offense. Dave Burr got the player of the game. But, neither team, like I said, neither team excelled in offense, but both defenses played really strong. But Houston was a little bit stronger. Their secondary, all of their starters got an interception except for their nickel defensive back. So they pulled it out. And then the last game was between Alamo City and Queen City, and that was a pretty tight one as well. But Brad Jones was very consistent with 120 yards on the ground and 31 yards receiving with the receiving touchdown. So I think all of these teams are, have a shot at the playoffs. Houston's starting to get hot here. They've won 3 in a row. The other teams, ACA, they win a game, they lose a game. Fort Worth, I think, is this particular game, and they beat Baltimore as well. It's putting the league on notice that they really know what they're doing. And with the players that they have on their roster, I mean, Hacker is just and we might see this later tonight, but Hacker is a difficult wide receiver to cover. I mean, I knew that when I was in Lone Star, but this season he just seems to maybe be up a notch or two. So look out if you're playing Fort Worth.
So here's my question for you, bro. I'm looking at the scores from this weekend. I'm also looking at the overall standings. Earlier in the season, it looked like Houston was falling out of the race and Mexico City was running away with it. This entire standings now, everybody's within 2 games of each other with 3 or 4 to play, depending on who you are, right? Well, right. But here's the thing I want to ask you though: is that misleading? Because when you look at the scores, Alamo City struggled with Queen City. Queen City hasn't won a game this year. Houston struggled with Canton, and even though Canton has a couple good wins and beating San Diego, beating London, and they have a good defense, not a top tier team. Mexico City losing to Fort Worth. Is this really Fort Worth's coming out party separating themselves from the rest of this division, even though the standings look close? And is that misleading?
I don't, you just have to play who's in front of you and beat them. I don't care, what their ranking is, you have to get a W. If you lose, you lose, and nobody's going to say, well, you lost to a really good team. You still got an L. Looking at the remaining schedule for these teams, I think each one of these teams can beat the team that's outside of their division. I mean, you got Mexico City's playing Queen City and playing London. I think they can win 2 more games. Fort Worth is playing Canton, Queen City, and Motor City, and I think they can win 3 out of 4. ACA is playing London and Canton out of the last game's Houston, but they can beat both of those teams. And Houston's playing London and Motor City, so they can win most of their games. And I think it's going to be this division, maybe Central as well, but this division is going to be one of those ones that comes down to mathematical formulas to figure out who's in the playoffs.
It probably is. So earlier in the season too, Charles, as a follow-up to my follow-up, everybody was talking about the West being real competitive, San Diego, Arizona, and Vegas, and everybody's been talking about the Central, but the South has got the reputation of being the most competitive division over the last 4 or 5 seasons. Is it the South kind of reemerging itself now, saying, well, hold on a second there, Central and West, everybody else, we're still the South, and we can still beat up on everybody?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can say that, and I think they're starting to peak at the right time. I mean, if you're gonna get hot, the latter part of the season is the best time to do it. So, I don't know if I answered your question. I was even in the right zip code.
Yeah, you're close enough. You're close enough. I mean, how many people are actually listening anyway? Nacho's in here too busy giving me shit in the chat, so he's probably not even paying attention. Hey, that's not my alarm to go to bed, Nacho. That's my alarm to tell you to go. I can't even say the rest without laughing. All right. Every Tuesday night, man, it's trash night, bro. You know that. Come on. We've had this discussion before. All right, Charles, thanks for breaking down the South. Appreciate it. That brings us to my main man, Gunny, everybody. Gunny's Fire Watch, letting us know week to week who is on fire and who to watch. Gunny, how's it going? How you doing? What's going on, buddy? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. How are you doing? The South is going to come down to Week 14, Fort Worth and Mexico City. It's coming down to the final week of the season.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I see Charles was going over the schedules. It seems like even you guys in Houston have some favorable schedules down the stretch. It'll be very interesting to see what happens.
It's going to be a good. We're in the playoff push right now.
It's definitely going to be
We're hoping
fun.
to win at least 3 of the last 4.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun last 4 weeks of the season. That being said, though, what do you got for us tonight, Gunny?
Thanks to my friend Doug Britton, we're going to go over the season 15 draft class.
Ooh, okay. Knock it out.
All right, there was 137 draft picks of that time. We went a full 7 rounds. It was like 4 days of SFL draft coverage.
Best draft ever, by the way.
Yeah. 4 teams did not have to draft in the first round. Those were Carolina, Sioux Falls, Arizona, and Chicago. The first overall draft pick was by the Fort Worth Toros, taking David Harrell, linebacker out of the Birmingham Fuel. At the time, there was only 20 teams in season 14, and with the 2 new additions of Fort Worth and Portland, they had the first 2 picks. Seattle changed over to Lone Star at the time, and New Orleans changed to become the Louisiana Revolution. Out of the 137 picks, 69 were on the defensive side of the ball, 68 were on the offensive side of the ball. We had 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 9 fullbacks, 15 wide receivers, 10 tight ends, 20 offensive linemen, 8 kickers. On defensive end, 19, defensive tackles, 18, linebackers, 11, free safety, 7, strong safety, 3, and cornerbacks, 11. Some of the surprise picks there are still, out of those 137, 86 of those drafted are still in the league, and 51 are not. The Mr. Irrelevant that is still in the league would be pick number 136. That is the Varadin Zarkov of the Florida Storm.
Yeah.
And also near the end of the draft, At 134 was Sioux Falls free safety Nathan Barrett. And again, the guy who inspired this list, Doug Britton, was picked 132. So a big shout out to all these guys that drafted, still in the league, doing outstanding things. They came along about the same time yours truly did. Good luck to everyone this week. Go Alamo City. Dave, that's all.
All right, Gunny, awesome. Thanks for that. That was the what do we call that, Gunny? Was that the supplemental draft that we did that season?
Yeah, it was a supplemental draft round 5, 6, and 7.
Dude, that was the best draft ever as far as I'm concerned. That was a great draft. That was the season that we were able to pick up over at Lone Star. Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was Ike, it was Worm. Who was the other?
Cam.
Oh, Cam was on there. I mean, dude, that was just a great draft. And, you know, I think we should all petition. I think everybody right now, if you're listening, go ahead and DM Cam. He loves getting all the DMs in his DM about the draft that season 15 draft, and let him know that we want another draft just like that, because I think that was his favorite draft as well. So please send Cam DMs and tell him how much you love the season 15 draft and you would love to have another draft like that. What was that, Gunny?
Yeah, you picked up Ace at number 6 in the first round. You picked up Thomas Smith in the second round. You picked up Hugo Reynoso in the third round.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, because we picked like 7 players. That was a great draft, man. Supplemental draft. Yeah, make sure you use the word supplemental draft in your DM to Cam, by the way.
Yeah, you picked up Adam in the 74th pick in the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Ike was like 121st or 18 or 96 was Cameron Collier at fullback, and then at 118 was Ike McBride.
Yep, that was a great draft, Gunny. Thanks for that information, dude. Whatever, everybody. In addition to DMing Cam, if you need to know anything about the SFL, hit up Gunny. He knows everything. Gunny, thanks for that. Appreciate you, bro. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
I know, Nacho, but it's you know, we can dream. We can dream. Moving on to the East Division. Josh, this is a division that's been just weird. I mean, Florida has underachieved, but they're playing well now. Atlanta has just been crushing it. Jacksonville won their first 2 games. I think they've lost their last, 7, maybe, whatever it is. And Louisiana started off poorly, but now they've got 5 or 6 wins. So tell us about how this division went this week, and then Charles will ask you a follow-up.
You know, there's only one game this week that pitted Jacksonville against Florida. It was sort of for playoff contention. It was sort of a de facto elimination game. And Florida took care of business. It was 38-26. Jacksonville, you know, they found their offense a little bit more in this game. They were moving the ball. Sean Saunders, their rookie tailback, he went for 137 yards in this game, and OJ played pretty well, finding Ochoa for over 100 yards and a touchdown. The biggest difference in this game really was both teams moved the ball, but the red zone defense for Florida was solid. They held them to a lot of field goals, where Florida was really just riding Boletsky into the end zone and getting 7 versus 3. So that was really the biggest difference in those games. 37 touches, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. Props to the Florida offensive line for just going straight forward against Jacksonville, just kind of wearing them down up front there. I think, I mean, for Florida, it's, you know, it is going to be you wonder if it's going to be too little too late in terms of the playoffs. They're on bye this week, and then they have LA and Seattle, which are winnable, but then they have to close against Atlanta, which is not going to be easy. As for Jacksonville, you know, they're starting to again. Hopefully, this is a sign that their offense is starting to curve around a little bit. OJ limited the turnovers, made some big throws to keep his team in the game. But Jacksonville might have the toughest schedule down the wire here. They after their bye, they have Minnesota, Vancouver, Louisiana,
Ooh,
which is kind of brutal.
it is brutal.
So um, as for Louisiana and Atlanta, they were both on buys this week. They're both really kind of game planning to play each other this weekend. If Atlanta wins, division's theirs. If Louisiana wins, it becomes a little interesting because then you have Atlanta dropping 2 games and kind of I don't know if you can call a team that's potentially 7-2 reeling, but you do have them sort of backstepping just a little bit,
Right, right.
and so that might be a little tenuous if they do get have that happen, but yeah, I think this is still Atlanta's division to win. I think they're still, despite a setback against Minnesota, they're still a juggernaut this season, and just because they're so balanced on both sides of the ball, and that it's really hard to hone in on one major glaring weakness and try to attack it.
Right. You, Charles is going to ask you a question, but Charles, I want to ask you a question before you ask him. You know, he touched about Florida being too little, too late. They're 3-6 right now. Even if they win out, Charles, and Florida is 6-6, is 6-6 going to cut it for the playoffs this season? Or do you think 7-5 is going to be the cutoff to make the playoffs this season?
I sure hope not. I mean, I think a team that's at 500 doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think. Well, and I think last season the last 2 seasons, 7-5 was the cutoff, right? It was 2 seasons ago where Tulsa was 7-5 and they even missed the playoffs. I think you're right, Josh. Is what I was going to say is that even if Florida wins out 6-6, I don't think that's going to cut it. They're not going to make it. Charles, go ahead.
Okay, so question about Louisiana. So they play, and I know you already mentioned this. They play Atlanta, and then Portland, and then Minnesota, and then Jacksonville. Do you think by the time they head into Jacksonville, they're going to be locked in a playoff position?
Yes. I think that they're going to be. I think they're going to be locked in. I don't. I think that Jacksonville game is really going to um, kind of determine whether they're going to be looking at any sort of home field at that point. But I think they got some positive momentum, and I think yeah, the way that defense has been playing pretty well lately. I yeah, I think they're going to be locked in. I think Atlanta beats them this weekend, but I think going down the stretch here, they can win. I think they'll win 2 of the 3. We'll put it that way, and that would get them essentially clinched at that point. But home field advantage, I think they got to win 3 of 4 to have any shot of that. So I think still a lot to play for, even if they're locked in.
Yeah, and if they beat Portland and Minnesota, even if they lose to Atlanta, I think that shows their chops going into the
Absolutely.
playoffs. You agree? Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Josh, thanks, bro. Appreciate the East breakdown. We'll see you in a few minutes when we do Diva of the Week and predictions.
Yep.
All right, moving on to the North Division. Another interesting division, T-Roy. Canton's been a little bit of a surprise. London with a slow start, but they've really been turning it on as of late. The North and the Pacific kind of remind me of each other, right? It's London's division to lose, like it's Vancouver's division to lose. Do you see it differently? And then tell us how things went down this weekend.
No, I don't see it differently right now. It looked like Canton had a strong start, but then London has just taken over with their 4-game winning streak. I think it's still London to lose right now, but the season's not over yet for Canton. But let's go ahead and talk about this week. London versus the V8s. I think this 30-17 victory for London can be summed up in one word: revenge. If anybody remembers at the end of last season,
Yeah.
Motor City gave London a Dragon Ball Z Yamcha meme that Liam remembers till this day.
Oh, yeah.
And that was in spite of the fact it was a snowy game, a totally dominated game by the London Knights. A solid answer to that loss against V8s last week, and then Robert Merrill trucking folks getting in the end zone. I think he was a star of that game. Going up with Canton and Houston, that was already talked about earlier from Charles. I believe the slow start on offense hurt Canton. Houston's strong start at the beginning of the game, the first half of the game, was more than enough for them to hold on and get the win. I mean, Dr. Sim and Mike St. Green scored a couple of touchdowns in that game. Robert Johnson had 88 yards rushing and one TD. He was a star for Canton, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And just to talk about the other game that was mentioned by Charles, Alamo City versus Queen City. Unfortunately, this is just not Queen City's year. It's most likely safe to say that they're out of the playoffs. They still haven't won a game yet. They were close. I mean, their offense is one of the best in the division. They're second in offense in the division, averaging basically 24 points a game. Tony Zuma had a great kickoff return for a touchdown at the start of the second half to help, close the gap and actually had the lead. But Alamo City was able to pull away in the fourth quarter and get the W. But yeah, for Queen City, this is just unfortunately not their year.
Let me ask you this. Two things real quick. Two totally separate things. One, I'm kind of what I was talking to Charles about. As I'm looking at the standings for the North, if we are all in agreement that it's going to take 7 and 5 to get to the playoffs, and everybody only has 3 games left, and you only have 3 wins, even though you're technically not mathematically eliminated yet, you're fucking eliminated, right? I mean, it's over. And if you look at that, Canton is 3 and 5. Right, so they, have they only had 8 games? Can anybody confirm that?
5.
Okay, so they still have a chance to get to 7 and 5 if they win out, right? So Canton still has a chance. But other than that happening, other than Canton winning out, is London going to be the only team that makes the playoffs out of this division?
I think right now it does look like it's London. Canton's offense just got it in order for them to potentially win out the rest of their games. Their offense has to pick it up. They're currently last in the division, averaging 14 points a game, while their defense is first in the division.
Yeah.
They only give up 22 points, and they gave up only 20 against Houston. So their defense is where it's at. The offense just got to take their game to the next level. If they do, and the defense, stands pat for the rest of the season, I do think Canton can also make it to the playoffs. So there could be just one of those teams like Tulsa was in prior seasons, where they may have the record, but maybe on the outside looking in due to strength of schedule and all that mathematical stuff.
So my other question to that is, what do you attribute? You can answer this either way. What do you attribute the 4-game winning streak for London to, or what do you attribute their slow start to? And while you're thinking about that for a second, Johnny, of course, jumps in the chat just as we're talking about his team. And he says, of course, London is the only team to make the playoffs from this shit division. It is what it is. Hey, Johnny, if Canton wins out and they make the playoffs, somebody's going to screenshot that, bro. They're going to use it for locker room material. What do you think there, T-Roy?
It's going to be, if London makes it, it's going to be their defense catching up. It's the opposite for London in terms of their rankings, in terms of Canton, in relation to Canton's. Their offense is the best in the division, 36 points a game. Their defense is third, but 33 points. It seems like their defense
They're barely
is
squeaking that out, yeah.
Yeah, and their defense is doing what they need to do to get these wins. I mean, it's still a 4-game winning streak is still impressive. And doesn't help that the person that you just talked about is second in the league in passing yards and second in the league in passing touchdowns. And Ben Callia is basically 25 yards away from 1,000-yard receiving season. So, it's a total team effort, and I think everything's starting to gel, especially with a 4-game winning streak. But, the defense, if they continue to do what they did against B8 for the rest of the season, you can contribute that turnaround to the defense.
Hey, Johnny, I said if Canton wins out. I didn't say when they. You better, you know what? You should put both of your AirPods in so you can hear better. All right, T-Roy, thanks for breaking that down. Let's wrap this divisional segment up with the Central and Will Todd. Will, do you agree, before you even get started, tell us about this weekend, do you agree with Charles, the Central being one of the top 2 or 3 most competitive divisions this season?
Absolutely. The top 3 teams in that division all have 6 wins. And even Sioux Falls is just 2 games behind, So as far as competitiveness within the division, absolutely. The top two teams, Minnesota and Tulsa, they didn't play this past weekend, but I'm going to talk about them first real quick. They're both 6-2, and both had a bye. Minnesota have won 3 of their last 4, and Tulsa have won their last 4, so they went into their bye week playing really good ball. Looking ahead for them, next week they play each other. Minnesota goes to Tulsa, and so I think that's going to be a really fun game to watch. The two leaders playing each other, and then Minnesota plays Jacksonville, Louisiana, and then Sioux Falls to close out their schedule. Tulsa's got a pretty, I think, a tougher road to hoe in that after Minnesota, they play Seattle, Atlanta, and then they finish the season at Indianapolis. So, right this minute, they've got the exact same record, but I think they've got the tougher schedule closing out the season. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. The lone game in the division was between Indianapolis and Sioux Falls. Indianapolis now 6-3. They had now won their last 4 games, so they're looking really hot right now. But they beat Sioux Falls 36-33. It was a fun game to watch. Scoring swung back and forth throughout the game. They were 20-20 at the half. So at that particular moment, you think Sioux Falls has got a chance, right? The scoring drives, there were 15 scoring drives between the two teams. 9 of them, though, closed out with field goals. So the field goal kickers earned their money in this game for both teams. Neither team could or chose not to rush effectively, so we got to see some great passing football. They essentially traded scores with the last points put up with 11 seconds left in the game. So it was an exciting game. As far as Indianapolis, player of the game, Colin Pierce, he threw for 501 yards, 2 touchdowns. His top receiver, Ryan Roosevelt, and Jay Viper combined to receive 360 of those yards and both touchdowns. And running back Christian Pierce did contribute a rushing touchdown, but he was held to 29 yards on 9 carries. And then to top it off for Indianapolis, their rookie kicker, Top Kiefer, contributed 5 of 5 field goals, and again, he kicked the game winner. It was a 50-yarder with 11 seconds left at the end of the game. Now, Sioux Falls had some bright spots. They got 5 sacks on Indianapolis, 3 by Hawking, and 2 by Kelly. Again, Julian Tyree had a good day passing. 354 yards, 3 touchdowns against 2 interceptions. But Jason Williams, the running back, he was held to 41 yards on 8 carries. Now he did receive 13. He had 13 receptions for another 56 yards and a receiving touchdown. But in the second half, Indianapolis really, and Sioux Falls, they really battled it out. And again, the game winner wasn't provided until 11 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, that was actually a great ending to a game. Charles, what do you got for Will? And then I want to have a little discussion about this division afterwards.
Okay, the top 3 teams in that division at quarterback, you've got Johnny Reno for Minnesota, Colin Pierce for Indianapolis, and JQ for Tulsa. If you're down by a score with 2 minutes left in the game, who do you give the ball to?
Right this minute, I'd say Colin Pierce. I think the last several games, they've just been playing that well. Earlier in the season, I think I would have said Reno, but right this second, I'd say Colin Pierce.
So Nate Hall in the chat said, I called Sioux Falls versus Indiana on Sunday. I don't know what he means, but I think he means them losing because I have him picking Indianapolis in the pick'ems. He says, I stand by my statement that Sioux Falls will be left out of the playoffs this season. And I'm going to open this up to anybody. Will, you've got first stab at it, but anybody can answer. With this division being so tight, if Sioux Falls had actually won this week, it's kind of a two-parter. If they had won this week, do you think all 4 teams in this division would make the playoffs? And do you think that because they lost this week, they are definitely going to be the one team from this division not to make the playoffs?
I don't think under any circumstances that you would end up with 4 teams out of this division going to the playoffs. I think the schedules, like I pointed out for Tulsa earlier, they've got a really tough schedule to finish out the season. The other teams have got pretty tough schedules as well. It would be some sort of miracle if they had won, if all 4 teams would be able to make it. Since they have lost, I think your top 3 teams in this division have a really good shot at making the playoffs, and they might be the only. Well, in fact, looking at it, they might be the only division that sends 3 teams to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the South, but
right. But I think Sioux Falls out of it.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody agree or disagree with what Will said in the Central? Is it going to be 2 or 3 teams, or did Sioux Falls basically lose their chance this week by losing to Indianapolis?
I think they lost their chance. I think Sioux Falls is by far the most talented 4th place team right now. I take them against anybody in the other 6 divisions when it comes to if you're going to line them all up. But I think just because of what's left on the schedule and what they would have to do and what other teams would have to do, I think they might get left out. But I think it's going to be interesting. But I think they get left out, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the problem with all these tough divisions, right? The Central, the West, the South, whoever. The fact is they got to beat each other up, and there's always going to be those games in the last couple of weeks, too, that are going to knock some teams out. Nate Hall in the chat clarifying what he said earlier. He meant he was on the call for that game, so got that. All right, Will, Thank you for breaking down the Central. Let's move on to our Diva of the Week segment. We had the lowest voting turnout this week that we've had all season. I don't know why, but I'm very disappointed in all of you. So make sure you get out there and vote this week, damn it. Voting's important. It's your civic duty. It's your SFL civic duty. Vote. I want you to go vote. Everybody's pointing their finger now. So make sure Holdorf will get this out hopefully tonight. So you can start voting on it. Voting will go until, I don't know, whenever the first game is this week. Oh, I just realized, Axel Raven, if you're listening, I forgot to hit you up for the Pick'em segment, so we're going to have to do this old school unless I get a graphic sent to me in the next 10 or 15 minutes. But let's move on. Let's deal with our Diva of the Week. So this week, the winner for, was that week 9? Was that week 9, Diva of the Week? Or no, I'm sorry, week 8, right? Because we just had week 9. Week 8, Diva, I don't even know fucking week we're on. It doesn't matter. You guys know who was nominated. And with no further ado, here's your Diva of the Week winner.
State-of-the-art technology, world-class customer service, APM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and find the perfect tracks for your project, visit apmmusic.com. As that interception is pulled in by Eddie Gage, he finally got it. Number 100!
100 interceptions for Eddie Gage. And what a way to do it. Blame the blocker for not possibly being another milestone, but hey, let's have the man have his moment. The first player in SFL history in the 20 seasons we've been around to reach 100 career interceptions. Congratulations, Eddie.
And there you go, folks. Eddie Gage is your Diva of the Week winner. Let me check and see I don't even know what week this is. It's weird because it's like 2 weeks back from the week that we're always talking about, I think. So it's probably week 8. I don't know, man. I have a hard time keeping track of this shit. All I know is Eddie won with 34.3% of the vote. What is your problem, Charles? What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at what Johnny typed in.
What did he do? When you play until you're 100 years old, you're about to get 100 interceptions. Oh, and you know what's funny, too, is I heard on a clip this week, I don't remember which game it was that Damon and Eddie called, but Eddie's nephew got an interception, but he didn't, and he was going to bring it back to the house, but he didn't. And Damon said something. About your nephew's going to be just like you with no pick sixes. That was pretty messed up, Damon. But it was really funny at the same time. So anyway, congrats.
Fort Worth Baltimore game.
Oh, was it your? Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think he was on Fort Worth.
He's on Fort Worth. I think you're right. But it was funny, regardless. But congrats to Eddie Gage, your week 8, I'm guessing. Diva of the week, and Ben Stone. There you go. Like I mentioned every week, at the end of the season, we will have a Diva of the Year voting. They'll get a prize or a trophy or a shirt or something. I haven't decided what it's going to be this year. Previous Diva of the Year winners, we've only had 2. The first time was Johnny Pickler, and the second time was Kendra Hall. So moving on to this week. This is all right. So we just had, you guys help me out with this. What week did we just play? Nobody? Anybody? Anyone? Is this thing on?
10.
Yeah, I think that was week 10.
We just played week 10. I love how nobody's sure though.
Week 9. That was week 9 because this is week 10, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that was week 9.
So because we're talking about week 10 coming up, right? Okay.
Correct.
All
No,
right.
we already did week 10, so that was week 9.
All right, so that means Eddie won for week 8 because we're about to nominate week 9, and we're talking about week 10. So see that we cover 3 weeks at a time, and we're versatile on this show. We don't know what the hell we're talking about half time, but we're versatile at least, so that's what matters. Josh, for week 9, the week that we just played, let's kick things off. Who is your week 9 Diva of the Week nominee? As Charles is just shaking his head in disgust at all of us.
That's fair, Charles. That's fair. So I gotta just go out and say, like, there's no QB controversy in Carolina. I promise you that. But this fellow, 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, actually drew a guy off sides on a 4th down to keep a drive going. Did throw 3 picks, but one was a Hail Mary at the end of the half, and one was actually dropped by another non-contract guy named Ketchup. As people know, Ketchup never helps pizza out.
Never, ever.
Never.
Worst team or duo ever, bro. Worst duo ever.
I agree. So Cheesy Pizza. He also lit up the defense for a play I think we're about to see.
Hey, just so you know, panelists, real quick, I'm going to hit the video, but we're not the only ones fucked up. Look at the chat. The chat doesn't even know what week we're on. All right, here we go. Here's your Diva of the Week nominee.
3 wide to the right, 1 to the left. Bit of a high snap, and he'll have time. Throws the ball to the right side. To the receiver. This is going to be trouble, and he's going to straight through. Touchdown, Carolina.
All right, there you go. How do you pronounce his name? Is it the middle initial E?
A middle initial Z, so it's like Chi. If you're getting rid of the middle name, it's like Chi Pizza. So whether it's cheap, whether it's cheesy,
is it chai? It's like chai tea, but different, or chai pizza.
The guy's parents had a plan, Dave. That's what all I know.
I'll tell you what, they fucked that plan up. That's all I'm saying. All right, so we got Cheesy Pizza as our first nominee for week whatever we're talking about. Nominee number 2, T. Roy, who you got for the second nominee for Diva of the Week?
I'm actually going outside the box with this one because it's a game that eventually did not count.
Ooh.
But it was one of the more exciting games of this 4-2K series. I think it's the best one by far.
You went outside the box on this one.
Yeah, I had to. And as a fan of running backs, I definitely love this play. The fact that Cam hyped this up makes it even better. But I don't think you ever seen a running back prior to season 11 make this type of reception as if he was the star wide receiver and then take it into the house in an epic fashion. And again, with Cam on the call, it even makes it even more epic. I'm nominating Douglas Brown for that touchdown reception at the beginning of the second half of the Tulsa Seattle exhibition game.
That stadium looks good.
Second and 8. Q to throw. Q deep corner. It's Brown. Brown shakes a tackle. 30, 20, and Tulsa has tied the game. Oh, what a route from Douglas Brown. You got to be kidding me.
Wow. All right. So
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead,
you know,
Tori.
that's just like the sign of good things to come. You don't see that in the current system that we're using, off-road football 2K8. You don't see that from the running back position. So to see that, I was so hyped. I immediately DM TJ, my owner, and asked him, "Hey, can you give me a play like that next season?"
What did he say?
I was so
Did
hyped.
he respond to you?
He didn't respond to me because he didn't see it live yet. So I think he's keeping everything to the best right now.
Oh, okay.
But I said that play was very exciting to see, and it shows even more potential of the new 4-2K game system that we're about to move into next season.
Charles, you look like you got something you want to say.
About the new game. I love it. I think it's going to be great. But I will say one thing. Those cheerleaders are more scary than Nate's picture.
Hey, maybe. I wonder if we could put Nate's picture on one of the cheerleaders.
We're going to. The cat's out
Oh,
of the
great.
bag.
Now, way to go, Charles. You just, oh, man.
Nate and pasties.
Damn it. All right. Well, plan B, I guess. There goes. All right. Diva of the Week nominee number 3, Will Todd.
All right. Well, my nominee is going to sound kind of familiar because I just talked about him a few minutes ago, but I'm nominating a rookie kicker who, prior to this past game, was 9 of 10 in field goals this season. But this weekend went 5 for 5, including the 50-yard game winner with 11 seconds left against Sioux Falls. Of course, I'm talking about Top Kiefer of the Indianapolis Ramblers.
I believe this is his second nomination this season, by the way.
Wow.
Ow, he's got 4 field goal attempts. This is going to be past.
Man.
This is going to be past 50 yards out. This is going to be right at 50 yards out to try to win the game on his 5th field goal attempt.
Kiefer is out. He's 4 for 4 tonight. 9 of 10 coming into tonight's game. Hold down. Kick is up from Top Kiefer. The rookie has got it from 50 yards and puts Indianapolis back out in front.
Top Kiefer, are you kidding me?
Wow. I want to know, really the bigger question, Will Todd, on that is, why does Nate sound so excited when he's calling SFL games, but he's not excited when he's on my show?
I think when he's on your show, he's had too much to drink. He's tired.
Dude,
he's tired, man.
Dude, that's like 90% of the people on this show drink too much. That's just the way we is. All right, thank you, Will. Moving on to nominee number 4, Charles. Who's your Diva of the Week nominee this past week or whatever?
Well, I was going to go with the guy that stands in front of R62 on the play reviews, but you missed that one.
I 86 that.
He's right in the line of fire, and Gunny knows what I'm talking about. So this is my second choice for week 10, Diva of the Week.
Is it week 10? I don't know. Do you want me to play it?
Oh, okay. Well, this guy, Stephen Hacker.
Okay.
294 yards, 4 touchdowns on this particular play. He basically knocked the shit out of a lot of people running down the sidelines.
Yeah, he did. Real quick, hey, before we go ahead. Sorry.
So it looked like Mexico City was playing 5 acres and a mule defense on that one because when he caught that ball, there wasn't anybody from the other team near him.
Hey, Justin Reside, Tyler didn't actually drink those. He threw them away.
He may his career may just be identical to yours. Here's Marcus Dunhill trying to redeem himself on that last possession, and he's got Stephen Hacker. Brace a tackle to the far, brace another tackle, and Hacker is in the end zone for another touchdown.
Right there, DeMar is a perfect example of why you, as a lifter, never skip leg day, as he used his leg muscles to fight off a couple of would-be tacklers to get in the end zone. First of all, watch him on his out route. Collects the ball, stops on a dime. That's those quads right there. Cuts upfield and makes 2 men miss, including Hall of Fame free safety Jeffrey Daggs.
Hey, Marcus, you didn't get the memo. We were wondering why you weren't at the pre-show tailgate party with us. I guess you didn't get the memo. So next time you should join us for sure. All right, so we got Hacker. So we got cheesy pizza, right? T-Roy, who was yours again?
Douglas Brown.
Douglas Brown. Will, you had the kicker. And Charles has got Hacker. And those were all very good choices, you guys. I'm very proud of all of them. I think you guys did a great job. However, I think I'm on a little bit of a streak here. I think I've had like 3 of the 4 last Diva of the Week winners from my nominees. And there is not, of all of the nominees I've had all season, there's not one more deserving than the one I'm about to mention right now. I actually went back, and I'm not even doing it. This isn't even Diva of the Week for this week, whatever week we're talking about, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever week we're talking about right now. This is going back all the way to the preseason. This particular element did such an amazing job on the first show of the season that his owner hasn't even returned to the show because he's so embarrassed. And I was reminded of it this week when Fox Highwind paid him a visit. And my Diva of the Week, maybe Diva of the Year nominee, is none other than Mike O'Neill's chair and the SFL award for best preseason analysis. And if that does not spell Diva of the Week, Diva of the Year, I don't know who does. I don't know what does. And if you don't vote for Mike O'Neill's chair, there's something wrong with you. That's all I'm saying. You vote. You go vote for Mike O'Neill's chair. All right, there you go, folks. There's your 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 nominees for Diva of the Week. And the Diva of the Week, I want to apologize to Mike O'Neill's chair. This is long overdue. You should have been in week 1. My apologies, but thank you to Fox Highwind for paying visit and getting that picture for me so we could show the entire league how amazing Mike O'Neill's chair is when it comes to analysis. So there you go, folks. There's your 5 Diva of the Week nominees. Zach Holdorf will put those in the Access Live server. And please go vote. You can't campaign for your own pick. Dude, I vote for my own pick every week. What are you talking about? Oh, Justin Reside. Yeah, you can vote for your own pick, bro. You still get a vote. You're still an SFL member. You can still vote for your own nominee. I do it every week. Trust me. All right, folks, there you go. Let's move on to picks and predictions. We're going to have to do this old school. Let's do this. I'm just going to leave the sign up, I think. I'm going to do this. And my bad for not... Oh, look at that. Apparently, we're not even doing pickups. We're out of here. All right, good night, everybody. Let's see here. Where is that? Oh, I have it up. Why is it not showing? Shit, dude, this is a shit show. I mean, I'm doing all this just for Bullet, by the way. I totally have my act together behind the scenes. I'm just doing this so Bullet will have bullet points next week.
Well, please, not there be a bullet with my name on it.
Wait, oh, dude, you're gonna get. Hey, Bullet, if you could do 6 with Charles's name on it, I'll throw you some Access Live swag in the mail. All right, you're not gonna see the games on there, but I'm gonna read them because I have the schedule here in front of me. We probably won't go in any order, but before we get to that, here's what you guys need to know. Last week, Marcus Dunhill went 11-0. Nate Hall went 11-0. Who else was on here? Justin Reside went 9-2, and Tyler went 10-1 overall. It was the best week of any pick'em. Now, here's the thing, though, right? I was looking at that. I was like, man, I'm really impressed. Then I looked at some of the games, and we had the most. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 11 games were sweeps by the panel. So that tells you how competitive the games really were this week, right? So I don't know. I mean, kudos. They still had to make the picks, but it looks like it was probably the easiest week to pick this season. However, that moves Josh. That moves you. I don't know if you were number 1 last week or not, but you're in the top spot for multi-week pickers. Daniel at 85, Nate at 68%, and Tyler 63. Marcus now dominating the field with 100%. Marcus, if I was you, I wouldn't come on another show the rest of the season, and then you'll win some swag. Will, Slyn, and Justin at 82%. By the way, 82% is 9-2. Still very, very good. Just, not good enough. So there's your update for that. Let's knock out these pick'ems, and then we're going to go home. First game that I have listed is going to be Motor City and Houston. So Motor City and at Houston. Josh, go ahead.
I like Houston in this one.
Houston. I'll just keep repeating them so you guys don't lose track since we don't have the visual this season or this week. T-Roy, Motor City at Houston.
Houston.
Will Todd, Motor City at Houston.
Houston.
And Charles,
Houston.
Houston. Look at Charles doesn't even want me to repeat it again. Game 2. Again, these are not official times or anything because they have the broadcast scheduled tomorrow. Seattle at Portland. Josh.
Portland in a close one.
Portland in a close one. T-Roy, Seattle at Portland.
Portland in a close one, like Josh said.
Will Todd.
At Portland, I'm going to give it to Portland.
And Charles.
Portland, both starting quarterbacks will be injured, and we'll be trying to figure out which one gets an award.
That's awesome. Dude, backup quarterback versus backup quarterback, I'm down. If that happens, that automatically wins Diva of the Week for both of them. Game number 3, Atlanta at Louisiana. This is going to be a ball game, Josh. It's in Louisiana. Who do you got?
It is in Louisiana, but I do have Atlanta eking this one out, taking the division.
Okay, T-Roy, Atlanta at Louisiana.
In a close one, I predict a game-winning field goal, Atlanta.
Ooh. Will Todd, Atlanta
Go
at
Swarm.
Louisiana.
Go Swarm.
Yeah, always, right? Always. And Charles. Oh, wait, so me and Charles have all been on Atlanta, by the way. It seems to be always somebody from Atlanta on these panels. Charles?
Atlanta.
There's your third. You guys are going to be just like last week. That's 3 sweeps in a row already. Game number 4, Arizona at Baltimore. This is going to be the Monday night game, I know, but this is where it is on the schedule that I see now. Josh, this is going to be a great one. Rematch from the championship game. Who you got?
Great stuff, but I think Baltimore in the fourth quarter pulls away.
Okay, Arizona at Baltimore. T-Roy, I know you're going to go Baltimore. Tell me why.
If we do, it'll be we have to stop DJ.
Yeah, for sure. Will Todd, I know just like T-Roy went with Baltimore, you're going to go with Arizona, but tell me why.
Yeah, well, you just got to believe. You just got to believe you can go in there and win.
Charles.
Baltimore, T-Roy will have a 101-yard touchdown, but it'll be called back on holding.
Is that going to be a reception, a receiving touchdown?
One.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Game number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minnesota at dude. These are really good games this week. Minnesota at Tulsa. Josh.
Oof. Might be the game of the week, even with Baltimore, Arizona. To be honest.
Yeah.
I like Tulsa.
T-Roy. It's Minnesota at Tulsa.
Oh my God, this is a flip 'em, coin toss. Pick 'em is what I meant to say. Flip 'em, okay.
It's a flip 'em too, man.
I pick Minnesota.
You take Minnesota?
Sure.
Okay. Will.
I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Minnesota. You know, Charles, normally these close ones, I tend to go with the home team. We got 2 of these guys already picking the away team. What say you?
Where's the graphic? Minnesota.
The Minnesota at Tulsa. The graphic is actually in Minnesota with Axel Raven. You're going to take Minnesota. So 3 of you took the away team. I'm surprised by that. Here's another interesting matchup. London at Alamo City. Now, this is in Alamo City. And I don't know how many of you know, I think Cam touched on it on the broadcast the other night. London has not lost a home game. Now, I know they're on the road for this, but you'll see the tie-in here in a second. They haven't lost a home game since game 1 of season 18, but that was against Lone Star, which is now Alamo City. So, Josh, who you got?
Oof. I think London wears them down and takes this by a field goal.
Even the games at Alamo City, huh? Wow.
Yeah. No, I think they get it done. Cam Crosby, I think he's going to have a huge game.
Justin Reside saying London by 14.5 in the chat. Wow. T-Roy?
I think this is going to be a very close game. I think the difference will be which running back has the better game, and that's will be the team that will win it. Coin toss still. I'm picking London.
London. Who was it on the show that used to say Toinkos? Does anybody remember that on this? Who was that? I'm sorry.
That was me.
I know it was you. Will Todd, we got London traveling to Alamo City.
The way they've been playing, I'm going to go with London.
London, okay. Charles, you going with our old compadres over there in Alamo City, or is London going to make it 5 in a row?
It's going to be close, but I'm going Alamo City.
Alamo City, agreed. No, Nate, yeah, it wasn't out. It was Charles originally, and then Albert made fun of him. Yeah, yeah, I love Marcus. I'm no longer allowed to pick games. See you next season, folks. He's riding off into the sunset with his trophy. Next game is Carolina at San Diego. Now, San Diego was playing well. They've lost the last 2 games, at Arizona, at Baltimore. But Carolina playing really good and playing tough teams. Came up a little short this week. Josh, who you got?
I think that cheesy pizza performance is going to push South play even better. So I think for job security. So I think Carolina. I think Matt South throws a touchdown in the 4th to put it away.
Or does cheesy pizza come in the 4th and throws the game-winning touchdown? And then we do have a quarterback controversy. T-Roy, who you got?
I'm going to say this first. I love both teams because I'm friends with both teams.
I love how he prefaces that with me and Charles on the show.
This is hard. I'm picking San Diego.
Atta boy. Wow. Okay. You are wise beyond your years, T-Roy. Good for you, buddy. In the chat, Justin Reside on his picks, giving point spreads, saying San Diego by 10.5. I think that's a little much. Will, who do you got winning this one?
San Diego at home.
San Diego at home, yep. Dude, when it comes to coin tosses or toin tosses, I'm all about the home team because it's just too many hairs to split. Charles, Charles, I know you're going San Diego. Tell us why we're going to beat Carolina this week.
Why? Because we are going to play better. I'll score that.
Because we're going to score more points. Boom. Tough acting, Tinactin. All right. Is that it? That's all you got?
Yeah, come on.
Oh, you don't want to give away our secrets? Okay. We're not giving away any secrets, folks. DC at Vegas. Another great game because DC has underachieved this season, but they're still a tough team. Kevin Say is still a beast. Las Vegas, one of the maybe top 2 or 3 hottest teams in the league. Josh, who you got?
Vegas is hot, but I like DC in an upset.
Okay. T-Roy?
I think this is a close one. A lot of close ones.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Vegas.
You're going to go Vegas. Now, it is in Vegas, and we've talked previously, Will, on this show seasons past. Vegas has a very unusual home field advantage, maybe more than any other team in the league. Does it work to their favor this week?
Yeah, I think it still will. I think Vegas will win this rather handily.
Really? Okay. Charles, where do you stand on this DC at Vegas?
Vegas.
Canton at Fort Worth. Now, Canton's been playing the good teams pretty tough. Josh, do they do it again this week, or does Fort Worth put the pedal to the metal on this one?
Pedal me metal. I like Fort Worth going away.
Okay. T-Roy?
Yeah, Canton has to have a strong start on offense, and I think they just need to have their offense take it to the next level. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, against Fort Worth. Fort Worth's going to win this one.
Will, it is Canton at Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
And Charles?
Fort Worth.
All right, 2 more games to go. Queen City at Mexico City. Just raise your hand if you're picking Queen City. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Especially, let me ask this. If it was Mexico City at Queen City, if Queen City had home field advantage, would anybody still pick Queen City against Mexico City? Damn, that's rough.
Their defense has to do better.
That's rough. All right, last game on the schedule, not necessarily in order. This is, again, 2 underachieving teams. One's already been eliminated from the playoffs. The other one on the brink of being eliminated. Charleston at Denver. Josh.
I think O'Shaughnessy runs a little wild, and I think Denver. Delivers.
Denver delivers. T-Roy, does Denver deliver for you?
I agree. I think Denver delivers.
And Will.
Denver at home.
And Charles, you got the last word tonight.
Denver.
I want to make sure I got all the games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. Okay, 11 games, folks. 11 pick'ems in the books from this panel. And with those pick'ems being done, you know what time it is. It's time to bring my main man, Freddie, out. Freddie, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Dave? I'm good. How you doing? Great show as always. Great panelists.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. And look, I said 95 minutes. We're 10 minutes over again. Damn it. So if you took the over, you win bragging rights. So there you go. Freddie,
Right,
take us home,
we
buddy.
Go. As Dandy Gons would say, turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Let's call it a night. The party's over. Until next week, where we'll party down again. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. And don't forget to vote. I want a special thanks.
Not for the chair.
Hey, vote for the chair, man. Vote for the chair. Oh, the chairman. The chairman. There you go. Let's see. Bullet Boletsky, Gunny, Freddie. Special thanks. We got Josh. We got T-Ray. We got Will. And we've got Flat Cap Charles Doherty in the house. Thank you to everybody for being on the show tonight. My apologies that we did not have an owner and we did not have a graphic for the pick'ems, but we made it through it. And as my good friend in the chat, Zach Holdorf says, hashtag vote for the chair. And no, you may not vote for the Tyler's hat. That's not. But you know what? Maybe Tyler's hat will make it one week. You never know. Who knows? In any event, thanks for tuning in. A little shorter show, not much, about 15 minutes shorter than normal lately. So, have another drink before you go to bed or something. Whatever you do at nighttime, do your thing. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. We'll see you. What are you laughing at?
Whatever you do at nighttime.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know what people's personal habits are. Shit, I don't know. Crazy Canuck, good night. Fox, Holdorf, all you guys, good night. We'll see you next week, next Tuesday. Tune in at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays on Twitch. We'll see you at the Tees. And how just one more thing. My other good friend, Mike St. Green, always says, see you next Tuesday.